Welcome back to Book Break. It is time for our first haul of 2021. If you're new here, every month we do a book haul where I get a very exciting email from Elle, the other half of the Book Break team, with details of some of the most exciting books we've published over the last month. And I know you guys always really enjoy these, so do leave me a comment below letting me know which of these books I'm about to unhaul you are most excited to read. I also have no idea what's going to be in this email, so let's see. Oh, there's a lot in here. Okay, the first book in here is... Oh my goodness, I had no idea we published this. 100% unofficial Animal Crossing New Horizons Residents Handbook. Okay, so Animal Crossing, I have to admit, is something I'm totally out of the loop on, but I know that everyone on the internet is obsessed with it. It's a game. So I'm just looking it up now so I don't give away quite how much of an old person who doesn't get this I am. Animal Crossing New Horizons is a game where you can create the perfect island paradise, and this essential but unofficial guide contains everything you need to know to make your best life. That's incredible. It is aimed at ages 6 to 8, but I can genuinely think of a lot of my Twitter friends my age who would want this book. Next in here, is a very big, exciting one, The City of Tears by Kate Moss. So this is the sequel, it's the next book in her Burning Chambers series. The Burning Chambers is this epic historical fiction series. In fact, I think I talked about the first book, The Burning Chambers, in my first ever video for Book Break, so I'll link to that below so you can get caught up. In this second one, The City of Tears, the story is going to take us from France to the City of Tears itself, which is Amsterdam. I imagine a lot of you have been waiting very excitedly for this one. Okay, next we have Amnesty by Aravind Adiga. Okay, so this is the paperback, brand new look. It looks very different from the hardback, which I have on my shelf somewhere up there. Amnesty is another book I have talked about on Book Break quite a bit. I will link below to a video we did on refugee and immigration stories from around the world, because I talked about that one in there along with some others. Amnesty is a story that takes place all in one day, but with flashbacks of our main character's life. He is living undocumented in Sydney when he becomes the key witness in a murder. So he faces this really difficult choice of whether he should go forward and tell the authorities what he saw or not, because if he reveals himself to the authorities he risks being deported. So it's this moral decision that he has to wrestle with, of how much he owes to this country that isn't granting him any rights. Then we have, this looks lovely, Forever Ends on Friday by Justin A. Reynolds. So I read his last book, opposite of Always, which was a kind of Groundhog Day-esque YA story. I don't know what this one is about, but I love this cover already. What if you had another chance to say goodbye? Is this going to be another time travel book? Because I'm into that. Oh wow, okay, so it's not time travel. The question in this book is, what if you could bring your best friend back to life, but only for a short time? So Jamal's best friend Q doesn't know that he died and is about to die again. There's this new technology that Jamal used to bring Q back to life for a few weeks, but he will then die again permanently. So it just gives him a second chance to set things right and say goodbye in the way that he wanted. That sounds very emotional. Then we've got The Ministry of Truth. This is a biography of George Orwell's book 1984 by Dorian Lynskey. There's a lot of buzz about George Orwell this year. Macmillan Collectors Library are publishing his back catalogue, so I will link below to some of the George Orwell books that are available to buy now. But 1984 is arguably the most influential of George Orwell's books and one of the most influential books of all time. So this is a really fascinating behind the scenes look at how this book came to be and the impact that it's had. Then there's The Ever After by Amanda Hocking. So this is for the fantasy fans. In this fairy tale land, the dangers are real. Amanda Hocking is the creator of the Trill universe, which is very beloved. She's written a lot of books set in that universe. And this book, The Ever After, is the final book in the most recent trilogy, the Omti Origins trilogy. In this one, our main character Ulla has lost a month of her memories, so she's having to go back and fit all the pieces back together again. So again, I know a lot of people who will be very excited about this. There are a lot of fans of this universe. The next book in here is absolutely beautiful. This is The Most Precious of Cargoes by Jean-Claude Grimberg. So I've heard that this book is very sad. It's a sort of fairy tale-esque story in the way that it's told, but it's set against the horrific backdrop of the Holocaust, and it's about a woodcutter and his wife who find a baby girl in the forest and raise her as their own. I really want to read this one, but I'm also very nervous because everyone I know who's read it has said that you will just weep throughout this one, but it looks really beautiful. It's been described as a magnificent small book to read urgently, which is such a great quote. Then we've got Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. I have that one sitting on my shelf over there as well. Very excited for this. So Rory Power is the author of Wilder Girls, which was a very, very buzzed about book on BookTube last year. This is her follow-up, a whole new story. It's about a teenage girl who goes back to the small town where her mother was brought up and discovers some disturbing family secrets. And just like Wilder Girls, I've heard it's very weird, it's very unnerving. I'm very, very excited to read that one, hopefully any day now. Just gonna work my way through that TBR pile, you all know the feeling. Then we have a gorgeous Chris Riddell book. This is Poems to Fall in Love With. This one was absolutely adored when it came out a year and a bit ago in hardback, and now you can have it in paperback, and I love this new design. So in this book, Chris Riddell has chosen some of his favourite poems about love and illustrated them in his amazing trademark style. It's just such a beautiful book. And then, didn't I tell you? Macmillan Collectors Library are publishing George Orwell, so we have 1984. I love this very striking cover with the big eye of Big Brother watching you. All of these books as well have this amazing image on the back as well, so it's a really great collectible set. We also have Animal Farm, another great cover design here. Animal Farm is a satire about the corrupting effects of power. I actually talked about both 1984 and Animal Farm in a recent video about classics that predicted the future, so I will link to that video. There were some very, very weird, eerily accurate predictions in lots of classics that have now come true, and both of these books were on that list. We then have Love is for Losers by Viveka Brueggemann. I am so excited that this book is out in the world now because I just adored it. This is a really funny queer YA story. It's sex positive, it's body positive. It is like this generation's version of Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging. It's so funny and so heartwarming and brilliant. I honestly cannot rave about it enough. It's about a teenager called Phoebe who thinks that love is for losers. Her best friend has just got a new boyfriend and has become completely insufferable. She's also having a hard time. She's coming up to her exams, which is pretty stressful, and her mum is away working in Syria, which is also very scary. And so there's a lot going on in Phoebe's life. She starts volunteering at a charity shop, and that's where she meets Emma. It's a story of friendship, of found family, and of course it's a love story as well. So I think people are going to love this. Next, we published Luster by Raven Leilani. You have probably heard a lot about this one already. It has been raved about all over BookTube. We actually included it in our video of books we predict will be big on BookTube in 2021. I have just read it and the hype is there for a reason. It is one of the best written books I've ever read. It's brilliant. It's brutal and cutting about what it's like to be in your 20s. But it's also about our main character Edie's experience of being the only black girl in her very white office and starting a relationship with a white man who is in a semi-open relationship and has an adopted black daughter. It's about these very, very complicated relationship dynamics, and believe me, you will hear a lot of people talking about this one. Next we have, Gemini. That is my star sign, so this is why Elle asked me what my star sign is. So this is part of a series of books for children about each star sign. So they're really, really cute. I hadn't seen this before and it looks really lovely. So in each of these books, children can find their constellation, get a little finger trail to trace. They get to learn a bit about the Greek myth that inspired their star sign, and they get to learn a bit about the personality traits that are often associated with people from that star sign. That's a really cute present for a child to find their birthday and give them that book. I love that. Next, next is The War of the Poor by Eric Viard. Okay, so Eric Viard is the author of The Order of the Day. His kind of speciality is going behind the scenes at these really crucial moments when history was being made. So I'm going to read the description for this one because my history knowledge isn't great and I don't want to get things wrong. But it says that The War of the Poor tells the story of a brutal episode from history, not as well known as tales of other popular uprisings, but one that deserves to be told. So it's set in 16th century Europe. The Protestant Reformation takes on the powerful and the privileged. Peasants are still being promised that equality will be granted to them in heaven, but now begin to ask themselves, why not equality now here on earth? Fair enough. Well, that sounds very, very interesting and definitely something I should read to get my history knowledge a little bit more up to scratch. Next is People Like Her by Ellery Lloyd. This is another one that I have read and loved. This is a social media thriller, so just perfect for someone like me who lives a lot of their life on social media. It's about an influencer. She's a very, very popular mummy blogger. She has a massive Instagram account, but her life isn't quite what it seems. So we hear from her perspective, she's called Emmy. We also hear from her husband, who tells a little bit more of his side of the story of what she's actually like behind the scenes. And then we also have a third perspective. We don't know who this person is, but it's someone who knows a secret about Emmy's past and wants revenge. So it gets very, very tense. It's a real page turner. I loved this one. Next is a book that you might recognise from our video on New Year's resolutions to make 2021 a better place. This is Clean and Green by Nancy Birtwistle. This is a really clever book. It's got all of these hints and tips in it for how to have a more eco-friendly home and a more eco-friendly cleaning routine in your home, but all really affordable and accessible. So this book will give you little recipes to make your own cleaners and just ideas to make your whole routine actually a lot faster and easier than it probably is at the moment, as well as saving the planet while you're at it. So it's a win-win. We've also got, this is a book I'm very excited about, Alexa, What Is There to Know About Love by Brian Bilston. Brian Bilston is Twitter's poet laureate. He writes these really, really funny but very relevant poems about everything. His poetry is very accessible, it's very understandable, it is moving, and most important, it is very funny. So this is his latest collection and it's poems all about love in all its many forms. So I think it's going to be wonderful and a brilliant Valentine's gift maybe? Then we have, I always love these Campbell books. This is My Magical Forest. So I wish I had it actually here to show you, but these books are really interactive. You can push and pull and slide all of the moving parts. They're really cute children's books. Eventually, one day, we will be filming back in the office and I will get to actually show you these books again. Just a couple more in here. The next one is Saving Justice by James Comey. So James Comey is a name that you most likely know as the FBI director who was fired by Donald Trump, but he's had an incredibly long career. So he is obviously an expert on the US justice system. He knows how it can be used as a force for good and he knows how far it has strayed from that. So in this book he's got all of these anecdotes and lessons that he's learned from his career about the importance of pursuing the truth. And then finally, perfect, if that stresses you out thinking too much about the state of the world, you can return to the Mindfulness Moments colouring book and give yourself some much needed peace of mind. I love these kinds of things. I'm a big colouring book fan. It's perfect when the world seems a little too much and your mind is racing to just sit down and be very present, very in the moment, and get to colour in some pretty pictures while you're at it. So that was a pretty good varied book haul in there. Do leave me a comment below letting me know which book you are most excited about from that haul, and I will also link here to a playlist of all of our other book haul videos, so if you just can't get enough of this format, we've got plenty for you, and we'll see you next time.